Alright guys, so an update on the Fireburn 750. I plan on eventually going back to its original float bowls. But in the meantime, I'm nursing a messed up thumb. I don't know if you can see that protrusion right there. It hurts bad, but I can't just sit around and do nothing. In the meantime, I had these that came off of a Performance 670 that I bought. See, Holley Performance. They're already cleaned. There's minimal dust. I mean, if you can really even call it dust in the bottom of it. Nothing that I'm worried about. I just test fitted my new seats. This is the first time that I've bought a Holley kit recently and Scott Rods can tell you this, that the needles or the nut on top actually fit right. So I was very pleased with that. I have to go back on eBay and look at the kit that I bought, but it is what it is. So I'm going to get this float stuck in there. I'm going to take and brush it off. I don't hear no junk rattling around in it. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. I tore something in there, guys. Gotta clean the metering block. Both sides. Then again, if I'm not mistaken, I've got a 670 metering block up there, but I think the metering blocks are the same. It's just the size of the bore that your air flows through is the issue. I wasn't gonna tell y'all this or show y'all this. That's not the side. But I did something kind of stupid, and I think it'll seal up, but don't take a coarse wire brush on a drill. I think you're going to get through in a timely fashion because the gasket is literally welded on. I might take some epoxy, but honestly, I can probably just plane this down with a razor blade and it'd be all good. So I'm going to give it a shot. If it don't work, it don't work. If it does, that's wonderful. So, yeah, that was a bonehead move there. I don't try to hide nothing from y'all. But, yeah, the Fireburn 750 is going back together with these newer float bowls. So I don't have to take the time to clean these up right now. I've got like 1 day left of vacation. Oh! So, does that have an umbrella? Yeah, see, this is the type with the check ball. It don't even have an umbrella in the accelerator pump. Alright guys, so, I have a plethora of Holley parts. But if you look closely, this one is out of a 670. This one is out of our burnt 750. Now I'm pretty sure we're going to find the same thing on the other fuel bowl. So whether gross negligence, mistake, or actual intent of bending it to try to adjust float level, somebody made a grave mistake. So I'm going to take my part here that I have that I'm going to put back together and stick in it and see if it fixes it. Now I'll get back with y'all. So, however it happened, that piece being bent, allowing the float to go all the way to the top because it wasn't touching the needle valve, I put my piece in there. It set perfect. Sure is a shame you can't count on. This person probably got somebody to assemble his carburetor for him. And it's a shame you can't trust people who assemble your stuff right. Because I didn't think by me having a new needle valve and putting it in a different float bowl, I was going to have the same problem with the float going all the way to the top. But when I got this guy and looked at it and saw how bad it's bent, and you can see the curve in it. That right there is causing it not to touch the needle valve. It's holding the float out this way, away from the needle valve, allowing the float to touch the top of the float bowl, essentially catching the person's carburetor on fire. It's a shame you can't trust people. It's a darn shame. On to the next one. I'll show you it has the same problem. I already can guarantee it. So upon further inspection, the rear float bowl was just an improperly set float. How that damage occurred in the front float bowl, only Jesus knows. So, because that's arrow straight right there. I'll take and assemble it in another float bowl now and set my float height and be done with the float bowls. The interesting things we find. Alright, so like I said, misadjusted float level on this one. It's a big difference, people. You better watch how or who you take your advice on setting your Holley from. If you don't know, do your research. As of right now, I have 9 Holley carburetors. One I've had for over 12 years. Never had a float issue like that. Which, the one I've had for over 12 years is, actually it may be longer than that, closer to 15, but is like the 600 that Scott Rods has, a 1850, I think mine's a -3. But that carburetor taught me a lot. And yeah, misadjusted float level is what burnt that carburetor up. So, moving on. We'll see what's going on in a minute. Okay, so here's your factory vacuum pod on your Holley carburetor. Factory, you got to take it all the way off to change your spring, to change your diaphragm if it's busted. It's just, once you take it off, you got to change that seal. Oh my, this is killing my phone. And all that good stuff. Well, I was digging in the shed earlier, and I had a 670 Street Avenger once upon a time that I caught on fire. And it was completely my fault when it caught on fire. I left a plastic sight plug in there when I shouldn't have. But it has a little trick to it here. Oh, look at that gasket. Anyway, it's got a little trick here. You can, without having to take it off the car, you can remove the top and put a lighter or a heavier spring for your secondaries. This is moderately heavy, but you can pop this out real quick, have a spring kit, change your spring, and put it back together and go. See how good your secondaries go then, because your secondaries work off a vacuum, hence why it's called a vacuum pod. Unless you have a double pumper carburetor or other certain types of carburetors. If you can look there, that's where I caught it on fire. But yeah, Holley Street Avenger system. We're gonna run this on the 750. and see what it wants to run like. Should be interesting. Alright guys, so I got this pretty much cleaned up, best it's gonna get. Those ugly scratches aren't as deep as they look, so it should seal. Yep, it's all clean. Take it outside tomorrow if my thumb cooperates. Blow some carburetor cleaner and stuff through it and assemble it. I was wanting to use that Street Avenger changeable spring pod, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. It seems it has a vacuum issue. It won't hold a vacuum and hold the pod up, so that'll make the secondaries not work. Let's see if I can work this one if it's not melted. No, that sounds good actually. Let's see, you see, focus, push it, seal it. Yeah, see, that one won't do that. It's actually got a good diaphragm in it. I can't believe it after being through a fire. But that'll be to a later date. I'm going to try and see if I can track down one of these tops. I don't need the whole pod, of course. But I think when I had my little mishap, the top got a little too melty. Got the metering plate cleaned up. I got to straighten that a little bit because it was so, all this stuff was so welded together I couldn't get it apart without tearing everything up. So the jury's still out on which metering block I'm going to use. Whether it's this metering block that came with it or this metering block I have here. Only reason I consider this one is because I know it's clean. I know there's nothing in it. I know it'll flow. This one has the vacuum nipple. This one is missing, so I'd have to find a piece of pipe to cram in there. So the jury's still out on that. Add that to the pile the jury's still out on. But I do know that I've got my float bowls set up, and I know I'm going to use these cleaner float bowls. Of course, this is going to be your front float. Of course, there's going to be a metering block in between there, dummy. What are you talking about, Steven? You're teaching these people stuff that you don't know about, obviously, because there's been a metering block in there. Alright, because I'm OCD. That's pretty much what it'll look like assembled with the vacuum pod and the little heat activated choke that is never going to work because I don't have a heat crossover tube in my manifold to hook it to. But that's for another day. So this is all my carburetor spare parts. It's all going in the box. I've done put the 650 Edelbrock in the cabinet, but I'll bring that back out and show it to you in just a second. Put all my parts in there. All these parts. Oh, another thing. Y'all don't let me forget to put these sight bowl screws in there. These sight bowl screws. If y'all watch part 3 of the motorhome, yeah, one of them got left out of it. I won't even talk about it, but don't let me forget that. .750 carbonator. And pretty much all of that was misadjusted float level. Is why it caught on fire and everything else. Alright, I'm going to put these gaskets up. I'll come back to y'all shortly and show you the Edelbrock 6. Are y'all ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Came out cleaner than I thought it would. Came out way cleaner than I thought it would. It was worse than that one. This one is the Edelbrock that has fought me forever. Everything I ever tried to do to it, you name it, it has fought me. And whew, I can't tell you how many cuss words I've said to that joker. It ran alright, but there's something wrong with the idle circuit, so we'll explore that another time. Nowhere in the near future, I don't think. I'm just kidding. I gotta get all these carburetors going. I gotta get that one going. That's one of the 750s. That one might have a little something special in store for it. It's a 670 main body. I might be building it out of parts off of eBay. I doubt I'll do anything with that. I've got to build that to go on a 302, which those carburetors are like, I'll put it this way, my nephew could probably rebuild that carburetor. That one should be good to go. I've been inside of it, but I don't own too many things that uses a 450 Holley. So we'll talk to y'all later.